Hey, what is up guys? It's your voice feed here, and today we are back with another tier list for patch 7.36b. Today we're going to be covering the offlaners, and I'm excited to do this, number one, because I'm an offlane main, and number two, because I have 4 heroes in the S tier and 4 heroes in the D tier. Usually I only have 1 or 2 heroes in the S tier, but the offlane is quite powerful right now, so let's jump into it. On top of that, go sign up to the Gamely website, guys. I'm posting new content over there almost every day, and I'll see you there. So starting off with the D tier, we have some very unfortunate heroes, and one of them is very, very shocking to me. But okay, let's start with Mars. I've been a Mars hater for a while now. I think that the hero in the pro scene has some value because it's good teamfight, and most importantly, it one-shots creep waves. And it actually still does that, right? But in pubs, I don't think that's very valuable because people don't make the most out of it. And on top of that, the numbers are so weak that it's very hard to scale with this hero. It's very hard to solo kill people with this hero. It just doesn't really do anything besides be a team player. And that might sound good, but it's actually not. The numbers are just not good enough. So I would not recommend picking Mars. I think he's absolutely D tier. Then we have Magnus, one of the most difficult heroes in all of Dota. His numbers have been nerfed, and I don't think he's in a great place right now. I would definitely avoid him. Similar to Mars, just hard to make plays. Much easier to scale, but still not my favorite hero. Then we have Kunkka, who's really shocking to be here, right? This hero has been top of the meta for a while now. Like, Kunkka for the longest time has had a 51-52% win rate. I mean, it has been an S tier offlaner for a while now, but after nerf and nerf and nerf, and funny enough, he got an innate ability. Like, this is one of the heroes where at level 1, you can have Torrent and Tidebringer. You'd imagine he'd be good, but no, it just doesn't matter. It's not a good version of Tidebringer. It's quite underwhelming. And so yeah, the Kunkka Ags build is finally dead, and I would not recommend picking it. And finally, we have Bat Rider. This is just one of the hardest heroes to execute in Dota, and as a result, he's in the D tier. He's actually not awful right now that Sticky Napalm is only 22 mana instead of 25 per stack or per usage. It's really okay. You can also take Arsonist and take Towers, and it's pretty interesting, but the scaling is very difficult, the execution is really brutal, and the item decision is probably one of the hardest out of all the heroes in Dota, and so stay away from Bat Rider. Then in the C tier, we have Omni Knight. They nerfed his Hammer of Purity. Primarily, they got rid of the Shard, and as a result, he fell off as an offlaner. Sand King's a funny one in the C tier. He almost was a D tier hero, which is funny because he was Omega S tier. This hero was like S of S tier not long ago, and then Valve just decided to annihilate him. He had the ability to just move Sandstorm around everywhere at like Mach 10 pace, and all of a sudden, you can't do anything with this hero. You can't farm fast, its numbers are worse, its ulti feels like trash, like, it's just terrible, which is so funny because it was hyper broken not long ago. Next up, we have Windranger. I think the higher MMR you go, the better Windranger becomes. This is one of Dota's most mechanically difficult heroes. You gotta line up your ulti, you have to position incredibly well, you gotta know what kills you, what doesn't, because the hero's squishy, right? Yeah, Windrun makes you invincible to physical damage, but the majority of what kills you in Dota for the first 20 to 25 minutes is all magical, right? 95% of the time, and as a result, Windranger really struggles. I don't think the hero's in the worst place. She gets to buy Glide Mirror, which is a great item, but due to the difficult execution, I would stay away unless you're going to spam her. Then we have Nature's Prophet. I think the hero is better as a support. It's not a terrible core, honestly, it scales pretty okay nowadays due to the tree and damage multiplier, but it's just too difficult and the scaling isn't really worth. Then we have Primal Beast. I think the hero's laning stage is quite bad. The scaling is okay, but the execution is so difficult that it makes the decent scaling not really worth it. And so yeah, some of the other offlaners just way easier and way more impactful. Then we have Tiny with the Toss Facet. I actually think this hero is a decent offlaner nowadays, but similar to the other heroes, and this is kind of just a common trend for these videos, heroes that are difficult tend to be lower and lower, and Tiny always has a bad win rate. Plus, its numbers have been nerfed over and over and over again, so if you don't master the hero, just not worth it. Same thing with the Razor. This hero will be picked by Team Falcons, but you shouldn't pick it. All right, getting into low B tier, we have a lot of heroes in the B tier, so let's go as fast as we can, cover everything you need to know. First off, we have Lone Druid, who actually seems maybe okay to me. He gets bear at level 1, and he can heal the bear with his hero, which is new. The hero used to never be able to heal a bear. It was always the other way around. The bear could heal the hero with auto attacks, but not the other way around. Now you can. However, the bear is so squishy, and it's an 160-second cooldown at level 1, so if your bear dies at level 1, you are a bot. And as a result, it's way too risky if the enemy team knows what to do against you, which is to target the bear. It's not gonna be good, guys, let me tell you. Then we have Bristleback. I think the Snot Rocket Bristleback, where the goo reduces armor by 2.5 per stack, at level 1 is really good. It's like minus 4.5 armor at level 1. And I think the scaling here is good. You buy Ags, you go right click, it's good. But people, they don't like it. They want to try the other build. They want quills to come out of their back. And I don't think that's the way to go right now. And as a result, he's in the B tier, especially because of how people are playing him. Then we have Elder Titan, who actually might be more of an A tier. Funny enough, I actually think this hero is really, really good right now. I do believe it will get nerfed in the upcoming patch, primarily because support Elder Titan is so broken. Basically, you have this facet called Momentum, and it gives you attack speed based on your movement speed. And it's so broken because you just have like infinite attack speed early game when you use your Astral Spirit and you like buy Phase Boots Windlace. You just, even pre-Phase Boots Windlace, you just hit like a truck. Then we have Lycan, who I thought would be better because of the Helmdom buffs giving XP now, but he just sits in a comfortable B tier. He's not crazy. Vlad's is also not great right now, and I think Helmdom overall just isn't too good. Then we have Dazzle, who's fine. You buy Ags, you buy bots. This hero is just okay. I don't think it's special. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's bad. It's just a B tier hero. If you want a decent laner, maybe have like a Pudge or something. It's a good follow-up to melee heroes. You can definitely pick it in those scenarios. Then we have Timber. His base damage is so bad nowadays. Like, when he was universal, he had way more damage. It was way nicer. But then they nerfed the hero quite a lot. I still think it's okay, but honestly, it misses some timings nowadays. For instance, they've nerfed Eternal Shroud a little bit. They nerfed Kaiasange because it doesn't give status resistance. They've nerfed Shiva's, and they nerfed this 25 timing where he used to get double Chakram, which was a big timing. Now he gets this like really fast Timber Chain or the tree bonus damage at 25, which is okay, but it's not enough. Then we have Phoenix, who I actually really like as a hero, but I think as an offlaner, it's just hard to play. It scales well though. You buy Spirit Vessel and the Shivas, maybe Radiance, and you can take the Dying Light talent and you farm pretty quickly, especially if you want to go Radiance. Then we have Dragonite, who was much higher, but then they nerfed his regen a little bit. I do think if the hero is fully understood, like the timings and such, its ability to take towers with a Corrosive Breath Dragon is really good, and you can scale into the game by just going something like BKB, Blink, Daedalus, and popping off. Then we have Tidehunter. It's just okay right now. I don't think his items are the best. I think the other aura buyers are just a little bit better. For instance, he's a Pipe buyer, and I would say out of all the auras, Pipe probably is the worst right now compared to Greaves and Crimson. So it's not terrible, but it's just not the best. And so yeah, not a huge fan. Then we have Veno, who's definitely better as a support, but I actually think that like the Plague Carrier Veno is really good. You can stack around and just farm like crazy because of all the levels you're going to get on offlane Veno. So I do believe there's some potential here. The only problem is the scaling is really awkward nowadays because he has like this really weird Ags that just isn't good. At least every time I've seen it, where you get base damage per debuff. It's just not enough. And so yeah, Plague Carrier offlane Veno is cool. Even Patient Zero Veno is pretty good, where you're just clicking ulti and it's spreading like crazy. But the hero's landing stage is, it's not great. And yeah, ever since they've removed the good Ags, it hasn't been the best core. Then we have Nyx Assassin, who I actually really believe in as a core, mainly because in downtime now, when his ulti is on cooldown, he can use his W, right, the Mind Flare, on a 7-second cooldown to one-shot creeps. That's no joke. A 7-second cooldown creep one-shot on a hero that generally cannot farm is incredible. And so I absolutely recommend giving this hero a shot if you just want to blow people up with Dagon. We have Dawnbreaker. She's just okay. You can go Ags and just like heal people. DP, once again, just also okay. Nothing special. She received some buffs to her innate recently, which shot her up from a C tier hero to a B tier hero. Also some buffs to one of her facets, which is way better now. So she was like probably a D or a low C tier hero, but now after buff and buff and buff, she's in the B tier comfortably. We have Viper. You just buy Dragonlance Mage Slayer, you go fight. It's all right. Ogre Magi. I believe in this hero a lot. I think especially if you're against melee heroes who cannot pressure you, the high base damage and the insane level 3 timing of Bloodlust and 2 points in Ignite with Learning Curve, right? You get 3 abilities level 2 is really good. And you can go Midas into Atos, and then you can scale into like a BKB Harpoon and go right-click with its right-click talents. Then we have Pudge. Basically, Pudge is just Pudge support, but it's still just good as a core. You go Flayer's Hook. You don't even take Fresh Meat, the facet, which gives you increased strength when dealing damage to heroes. No, you take Flayer's Hook, which just makes the hook a completely OP ability, and you get kills at the rune, you get kills in the laning stage, you roam, you can do whatever you want. We have Wyvern. This hero just scales well as a core. It always has, always will, and because of the fact that it scales like a menace, and it doesn't really take a lot of difficult execution in the late game, you can maybe have to get good at using Curse, but other than that, it's really easy. Then we have Spirit Breaker. Talk about easy. You take Bull Rush, and then the hero's like unkillable, can split push like a madman, and with Herd Mentality, you're constantly giving your supports 50% more bonus XP, which is, you know, that is pretty good, right? That is pretty good. You're going to keep your supports just higher level always. Okay, then we have Beastmaster for the final hero of B tier. I actually think that in the pro scene, the hero is probably more of a low A tier, but the difficult execution, right, the micro of the boars, you have to know when to stack ancients, you gotta know how to hit timings, you gotta know when to buy which aura. It's actually quite kind of difficult in execution, and as a result, he's only B tier. But what they did to the hero is that his Ags is better now because of the fact that his beast mode facet makes it where you get a self attack speed boost, and when you're hitting things, it applies Wild Axe's bonus damage hand per stack, and it gets nuts, like nutty, because when you roar people with this Ags, you want to hit them a ton to keep the Ags going, and whew, the damage goes nuts. Like, and also what you have to keep in mind is his bonus attack speed is flat 55, and if you activate Inner Beast, because Inner Beast can have an active now, it gives you an extra 40, so you get 95 attack speed with the ability to apply Wild Axe's amp with that 95 attack speed. All right, getting into the low A tier, first off we have Necrophos. I think this hero actually should be more of a Radiant Spire. I actually like what Gork does on the hero. It's really greedy. I think maybe he's a little bit too greedy. I personally think that maybe some sort of a mix, like a Treads or like even something like Falcon Blade. I'm not exactly sure what the first item is. Maybe it's even just Urn. Something to get you through the early game, give you a little bit of HP. It could even just be like raindrops and such. He's really good. But then the scaling of this hero, it's solid. He also had this incredible facet, which is Profane Potency, which they even had to nerf. It was so good that they nerfed it, where Sadist also grants Necrophos' AoE abilities and items bonus radius per kill. So basically, when you have stacks of Sadist, which is your innate, where you get regen per kill, that now gives AoE bonus, which is obviously really good with Death Pulse, it's really good with the Slow of Ghost Shroud, and it's really good with Heartstopper. So I also think it works with Radiance, if I'm not mistaken. Its ability and items, yeah, so it works with like Shivas and Radiance, so it's really powerful. This build can scale incredibly well due to this facet. Then we have Venge. I'm a big fan of Venge offlane. You just buy Treads, Wand, Wraithband, Bracer, Null into Axe. Like, just stack stats and then buy an Axe and then go fight. Because of the fact that she has Soul Strike now, where her range attacks behave if they were melee, it decreases her base attack time to 1.5, and she just hits like a truck. Like, you don't have to go Echo Saber or anything like that. I think those builds are kind of a meme more than anything. Not that they're terrible. Like, I think they're fine. You just buy an Axe, though. Yeah, just buy an Axe, and then you take her right-click talents. -5 Wave of Terror Armor, -5 armor on ability that already reduces armor by 6 is really something. And then at level 20, you get Wave of Terror steals damage, which is, whew, on a hero that wants to right-click, let me tell you, it's pretty good. Then we have offlane Abaddon. He's pretty solid, nothing crazy here, not much has changed. Basically, you take the Quickening, when units die nearby, it lowers your cooldowns. You spam your shield, your E instantly procs now, it gives 40 attack speed and does 40 damage. Just for hitting them once, which is not bad. It's pretty annoying. This hero can take towers. It's solid. I think he's not in an incredible position, funny enough. Because of the basic execution of the hero, the strong concept, it's just like a solid hero that's always going to have impact. It's easy to play. And the ulti, just when noobs go on you at the wrong time, it punishes them, right? It's just how the ulti works. It's the same reason why Wraith King has a good win rate. Similar ulti concept. And as a result of his kit, just naturally he's a high winner hero. Then we have Legion Commander, who I still believe is an A-tier hero after all of the nerfs in pubs. In pubs, this hero has a good laning stage. It's still really oppressive in the right matchups against like Slark and Spectre and Wraith King and Sven. You can really dominate these heroes and be a true nuisance. And so, yeah, her scaling's okay. They nerf the Ags like crazy, but still, it's a 7-second duel that gives you magic immunity. That's not bad. You're gonna get solo kills like crazy. You're gonna do well in your lane. You're gonna buy a Blink Blade Mail and you're gonna kill people. Then we have Doom, who is quite good right now. He has either Gluttony or Devil's Bargain for his facets. One of them, Devil's Bargain, allows you to sell items back for 90% of their value. This one's cool because you can buy a ton of bracers and phase boosts and like even a blade mail or a Midas. And then eventually when you feel like you're done with these items and you've gotten full value out of these very strong early game items, you can sell them back and buy a Shivas, you know, or a BKB or an Nocturne Core. And it's really cool as a concept. And I see Amar do it all the time. Funny enough, he doesn't abuse it as hard as I would expect. Some games he does. Like I've seen a game where he had phase boots and 5 bracers, which is really funny. But then you also have Gluttony, which gives you 2 charges of Devour. It actually makes Devour a worse ability. If you were to spam it off cooldown, normally it actually is worse, but it's kind of like the old Midas, where it's easier to use. And so, yeah, I don't know, this hero's just like, it's just fine. It scales well. It's fine. Then we have Enigma, which is a top pro hero right now. I would say the main thing that makes Enigma good is just the fact that his Eidolons are so annoying. They're a 40-second duration with a 40-second cooldown that only costs 70 mana. It's just like, this hero is such a lane bully because its a main ability is just, it's just too good. These Eidolons, you can't kill them because they have bonus magic resist. They're too tanky. They're high duration, low cooldown. So like, I don't know, it's just too hard to deal with Enigma. It's like, it just really feels way too hard. And so I don't even think they buffed too much else. I don't even think his facets are that good. He has one that like makes him spawn an Eidolon when he takes damage, which is like, okay. He's one that gives a movement speed penalty to people facing away from you in a small radius. Like, I don't even think the hero is like really that OP in terms of getting buffs, but Enigma always tends to be high win rate because he scales into the late game. And he dominates his lane. Like, and in High Mamar, that's good enough. Win your lane and then scale. There you go. You have the formula for a good hero. Then we have Gyrocopter. I know people are going to hate me for saying this, but I win all my games. I have such good games on Gyro offlane that I'm putting it here. I don't care what people think. Oh, it's a carry. You can't play it offlane. Why? Why? What is different from Gyro or DP? What is different between Gyro and Viper or DP, right? These are lane dominating heroes that do high burst damage. And you might be like, okay, but Viper is like more of a lane dominator. Not anymore. I would argue Gyro is better in lane. You could say, oh, DP has building push. Okay, sure, but that only applies to some heroes. What about Razor offlane? How do you justify Razor offlane? The hero, it's not always a lane dominator. And even when it is, Gyro is too in a lot of those situations. Okay, it scales into the game. I'll stop justifying it. Basically, the hero's good. You can buy a Blade Mail if you want to fight early game. You can buy a Vessel if you want to fight early game. And then personally, what I do is I just go Ags into Beekeeper. I go Ags into Gleipnir. And I just play like a scaling Gyrocopter because the hero's laning stage is good and you take the Afterburner talent, which gives you movement speed when you hit people with Rocket Barrage. You run around like a madman and you go kill people. It's really nice. And the laning stage is reliable. And you can't get last pick countered by the rat safe lane players that are in every game. Then we have Broodmother, who, if this hero, it's kind of bad win rate in pubs because people just, like, it's really hard to play. But man, if you get good at Brood, it's like the best pub hero in the game right now. That's the reality. If you know everything about it, you know when to split push, you know how to solo kill people, you know when to take Ancients, because this hero farms faster than any other hero in the game besides like Alk and Naga. It's just ridiculous. Its laning stage is nasty good right now because it heals when getting last hits and denies, it gives mischance. All the heroes that had a Dispel that countered the hero in the past just no longer because you can reapply Incapacitating Bite, whatever that ability is called, to give the spiders the bonus attack damage. Plus your ulti slows now, so it's way easier to chase people down. Like, I really believe Brood is like really obnoxious, broken in pubs if you spam it. So even though its win rate isn't the best, it's kind of one of those heroes where it will pay off if you really put the time in right now. And so I had to put it in A tier. Then we have Brew, just Radiant Shard, the usual, nothing changed. This hero's just solid. Then we have Centaur, same thing, nothing changed. He just becomes tanky because of his innate. You buy Shroud, Blade Mail with the talent, the horsepower, the facet, right, where you gain movement speed based on your strength. So instead of buying boots, you just buy like 4 bracers and Blade Mail, and you're obnoxious. Then we have Axe, who even after nerf was so good at the beginning of the patch, and one-man army still makes him just obnoxiously tanky in the laning stage. You can have like 950 to 1,000 health, which is crazy. Crazy, starting the lane. And then you just farm Ancients who buy Blink Blade Mail. He scales well still, even though they nerfed the innate Code of Blood. If you're getting enough dunks, you're still going to be able to stack your armor, and that's going to give you a ton more HP with one-man army. And so, yeah, this hero, it can just be tanky. Then we have Visage, who crazily enough has a ridiculous win rate. This hero is in the best place it's been in a very, very long time, and there's a lot of different builds people are going based around the talent Syphilshire. I don't even know if that's what it's called. I probably am pronouncing it wrong. But basically, Grave Chill affects units around the target, and you get 25% of the buff of all the targets you hit. So you get obviously 100% of the buff of the main target, but let's say you hit a creep wave. You just get some insane amount of attack speed. You hit way too fast, and so this hero, what 33 is doing, probably the main Visage player in the world, is he's buying Gleipnir because the Maelstrom with the ridiculous attack speed is just nasty, and this hero already wants control, so he's going Gleipnir, and I think it's really, really good. But you can also just go like Vlad's Drums, but I don't think you even need Drums anymore because you just get way too much attack speed. Plus at level 10, you get Grave Chill cooldown, and at 15, you get Grave Chill duration if you want it. You can also get this insane Soul Assumption hits 3 targets at 15, which is a crazy talent. 3 targets! Soul Assumption hits 3 targets! It's a tough sell because of the fact that the other talent is Grave Chill duration, but still, it's pretty damn good. Alright, and finally, let's get into the S tier heroes. First off, we have Underlord. Underlord now, his innate is Atrophy Aura, so at level 1, you just get like this weakened version of Atrophy Aura. It's pretty nice. It can be very powerful, just getting a little bit of extra damage in the lane. The main thing I really think that makes this hero broken is, well, 2 things. Number 1, they buff some of his abilities, but most importantly, his root is now 1.5 second duration at level 1. This used to be a 0.8 second duration. Now it's double that. And as a result, when you buy Atos in the early game, which in my opinion is the item you should buy first in 80% of games, you get to pit, Atos, and then it pits again. You get a 3-second duration just from the pit alone because of how good this ability is at level 1. It also does damage now. So it's really crazy how strong Pit of Malice is as a value point. They nerfed the cooldown, but trust me, it's way better now. On top of that, he has this nasty facet called Abyssal Horde, where basically you spawn Necromonicons when you use Portal. It just does a lot of damage. Like, basically, it spawns these minions that give bonus 5% AoE movement speed if it's one of the archers, and then it spawns more minions based on how many enemies are around the portal. And so it will just spawn like a ton of these minions. And if you buy Atos, these minions will rip apart supports or even cores that you get stuck in the pit, right? Because you're teleporting in, it's summoning these minions, and then you're pitting them, you're Atosing them, you're pitting them again, and these minions are just ripping into the enemy. Like, it's just so good. And then in terms of scaling, auras are pretty good right now. Grease is good, Pipe is fine, Crimson is OP, Ags on this hero is really good. It summons a pit around. It increases the pit radius, which is already just good. It lowers the cooldown of Fiend's Gate, which is incredibly good, especially with the minions. And it makes this pit around it. It's just, this Ags is really good. Okay, getting into second hero, we have Witch Doctor. Voodoo Festration is just so good, as it makes the laning stage basically unplayable for the majority of offlaners. And on top of that, what's really crazy about it is that it makes farming easier than ever. This hero farms obscenely fast. You can be top net on Witch Doctor in like a high percentage of games. And then from there, I just recommend buying auras. Greaves into Pipe, Greaves into Solar Crest, Greaves into Vessel. You can go Radiance Bloodstone, but I actually think that just going auras and being an aura bot for your team, kind of like an Underlord or a Darkseer, is really OP right now. So yeah, Greaves into Pipe, Greaves into Crimson. Then you buy your shards, so you're going to scale naturally into the game because Death Ward scales, your shard scales, Maledict scales with the 20 talent, which is OP. Cask is just a good ability nowadays ever since the cast point got buffed back in the day. So yeah, this hero is just really good as an offlaner. If you buy auras, you're going to feel your impact, you're going to scale into the game. Then we have Night Stalker, who's the only non-aura buyer on the S tier list. But yeah, Night Rain or even just Blinding Void, either of his facets are really good. One turns the game into night instead of day at the beginning of the game, just makes your laning stage OP. The other one makes you deal bonus damage and take away vision for enemies who you nuke if they're not close to allies, which is pretty freaking good. And then yeah, this hero's just been solid for a while. Basically ever since they gave it the ability to refresh cooldowns when it clicks Dark Ascension, it's been kind of OP because you silence them for 6 seconds, then you refresh it, and then do it again for another 6 seconds. And when you deal 40 damage per second for 6 seconds and silence them for eventually 12 seconds, you kill people, believe it or not. And so, yeah, this hero scales well. Its laning stage is one of the most reliable in the game because its innate Heart of Darkness gives you 40% bonus regen during the night. You get 20% decrease during the day, which kind of sucks, but you can imagine why this hero is so OP early in the lane. You're faster because you're passive, your nuke does more slow because it's nighttime, you get bonus 40% regen, which includes tangos and salve, so your hero just buffs its regen items. The early laning stage, it has insane base damage, insane base armor. This hero is the best laner in the game early on. Like, probably, not by far, but it's pretty crazy how good NS is for the first 5 minutes. And so you can get yourself off to a good start so that the daytime isn't nearly as bad. And finally, the most broken hero in Dota right now, as an offlaner, is Darkseer. I've been talking about how good auras are right now. They're pretty solid. Even though they didn't get buffed, I think people just kind of forgot about how good these items are. And mech has been in a good place for a long time now. It really has been. And Greaves has been okay, and then they buffed Greaves. So it buys a very buffed item. It buys Shiva's, which even though that item is nerfed, is still really good. It buys Crimson, which just got buffed really hard because it gives more block on the active depending on your max health. So if your hero, if Darkseer has high max health, which he's okay at doing, I'll explain why he's better now at doing that, but he's okay at doing it, you can make your Crimson block insane. And then you buy a Pipe, and basically your team becomes invincible. But what's really crazy about the hero is his facets and his innate. His innate means that his intelligence can never be lower than his strength or agility. So basically, you start the lane with already more intelligence because the hero's base intelligence is 2.1, but its base strength is 22. So immediately he gets a free intelligence. And then you buy 4 gauntlets, or 3, depending on what you want to do. And then all of that strength that you buy immediately turns into intelligence. And so the hero just gets to start the lane with a ton of strength and a ton of intelligence. And it's a universal hero, so all of this bonus intelligence it's getting from this innate gives it more damage. So the hero has like 70 damage, 6 armor, and a huge mana pool. And so you can spam ion shells. And then his facets, you either gain attack speed from intelligence, and you can imagine why that's good, with the innate, right, where you just get a ton of free intelligence, or you get Heart of Battle, where you move faster when near other heroes. And both are actually really OP. 8% movement speed for heroes within 900 radius is insane. However, your base move speed is reduced to nerf it a little bit, otherwise it would be completely OP, but in teamfights you're basically surged around. It's really nasty. You can be slowed, which is the reason why it's not that OP, but still. Bonus attack speed from intelligence makes you trade and farm like crazy, or even just right click, or Heart of Battle makes you kite like crazy. This hero, it does everything right now. It really, really does everything. Plus they buffed the cast point of Ion Shell, making it easier to cast to get kills. So yeah, that's going to be all for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you agreed or disagreed with anything, put it in the comment section down below. I'm not going to read it because I don't respect your opinion, and I'll see you in the next one.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.